Active FM. Radio has never been better.
What is up?
Good day.
This is the movie show.
On your favorite RSPN?
Yes, Active FM. I am Sash.
My name's Ryan.
And we are continuing with our top 10 films of all time. According to last week, it was according to IMDb. It was a very interesting list. Mm-hmm. And we've got some films that we'd like to go and watch from that list.
I like it because you learn about films that are like out of your thought, out of your circle.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then this week we are going to be looking at Variety's top 10 films of all time.
Yeah.
So if you go on like all of these websites, you can actually see, and a lot of them don't just have top 10. A lot of them count down from like 250. But to do a show on all 250 films will be in like 3 weeks time still. So we thought we'll just take the top 10 of each list and like also kind of compare them. Last time we looked at like there was The Godfather, both Godfather films. There was The Dark Knight Rises, which was the second in the Batman series by Christopher Nolan. Pulp Fiction. What was the other ones?
There was Star Wars in there somewhere.
There was Lord of the Rings. There were two Lord of the Rings
That's
films.
the one I was looking at. Lord of the Rings, yes.
Was Forrest Gump? I feel like Forrest Gump was 11 or 12.
It was 11.
I think it was 11, yeah. So there was like a bunch of films. Oh yes, and that 12 Angry Men, which we said we must go and watch.
Let's not forget about the 12 Angry Men.
Schindler's List.
Mm-hmm. Which we did a movie show, I'm pretty sure.
We did not. We still didn't check. We need to check. Okay, but before we get into Variety's top 10 films of all time, Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you ready?
No.
Okay, I'm going to ask it anyway.
Go for it.
So think fast. If you had to watch the filmography of just one actor for the rest of your life. So for example, you can only watch, let's say for instance, I can see him, so I'm just going to use him. If you look at Tom Hanks, if you could only watch Tom Hanks films for the rest of your life, would you be happy? So if you had to pick an actor and the only films you get to watch for the rest of your life are films that are in their filmography, who would that actor be?
Andy Serkis.
For real?
Yeah.
Andy Serkis. So you'd be watching all of the Lord of the Rings, you'd be watching The Hobbit, you'd be watching Luther, where he's a psychopath, you'd be watching War of the Planet of the Apes.
No,
You'd be watching some Marvel films.
I can think of so many actors though.
Yeah, it's an intense
So
one.
like Andy Serkis, the next guy would be from Ford versus Ferrari.
Christian Bale. Definitely.
But I've seen some of his older films. They're like...
No, it's great.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's also a good one, I suppose.
He
but
is.
also there are some of his films which are like, eh. So like The Martian was very good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen The Martian was very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did a movie show on that.
I thought you were gonna say Leonardo DiCaprio. Like I honestly thought you were gonna say.
Damn it, Leonardo. Leo.
So do you want to change your mind?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry, Andy Serkis.
You're out the window.
You're
Ryan will be
brilliant.
watching Inception, Titanic.
And Titanic. I'll watch.
Django.
The question is, who has the most movies out?
Leo's got a lot.
He does.
You know, Tom Hanks, I wasn't thinking about Tom Hanks, but Tom Hanks is also a good pick.
Tom Hanks has been
because he's got a very wide range as well. So, yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. That's hectic. That's a very intense question, you know.
You see, it's like...
I did hear this and I thought, okay, this one actually is a very good idea. The one actor who has a very large filmography is Samuel L. Jackson. Because if you think about it, he's been in most Quentin Tarantino.
But a lot of his films, I feel like, will be
he's been in most Marvel films.
A lot of dirty films as well.
Most Star Wars films.
Star Wars.
Exactly. He's actually got
he was a Jedi, man.
He's got a very wide filmography. So like the Quentin Tarantino films,
Star Wars
like
1,
that
2,
stuff,
and 3.
Yeah. But I mean you've got Marvel, you've got the Original Avenger, you've got think how many Marvel films you can watch with Samuel L. Jackson in them.
Yeah.
So he could be a good one.
He could be a good one. Leo. I'll go with Leo. I'll stick with Leo. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo's good. He's good, man. He's good. Give it to him. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt could also be a good choice.
Brad Pitt's also a great.
He's a good choice, so I feel like don't choose a young actor yet because
not enough
you don't
lifetimes.
know. Yeah, first of all, you're only going to be able to watch like 10 to 15 movies.
And then you're done.
Although another actor I would actually choose is Robert Pattinson. Although he hasn't been in a lot of stuff, but I would choose him just because of his range. Like I remember seeing him. Like we know him from like his younger days, but then he's in what was that movie, The King? Oh my goodness, he blew me away in The King.
Really?
Because he was so different. Don't you remember he was the French prince? And I was
Oh,
like,
yes, that's right.
this is Robert Pattinson.
That's
and then
right.
obviously he's the new Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And then you can
kudos.
watch Tenant about 20 times.
Yes, you can watch Tenant. You
You'd
see,
be alright.
So also a good
You'd
one.
be alright.
Anyway.
Wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio in Tenant? No?
No,
Are
he
you
was
sure?
in Inception.
Are you sure he wasn't in
Which
the
also
background there?
Tom Hardy's also could be a
Yeah.
good choice. Except Tom Hardy you also have to like
It's
watch for
okay.
language,
It's
stuff
okay.
like that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's alright.
All right, so it's Variety's top 10 films of all time. Number 10
Number 10.
is Saving Private Ryan. It is a 1998 film directed by Steven Spielberg.
If I go to war, someone will come for me.
There we go. So just a quick commentary. It says, no American director has demonstrated a more instinctive sense of how to engage and immerse an audience in someone else's experience than Steven Spielberg, which is a very good point. And he started out making amateur combat films with neighborhood friends.
That's
and
right.
that led him to make the epic World War II rescue mission film, Saving Private Ryan, which has that phenomenal beach scene. Do you remember that beach
I was
sequence?
going to say, you know, I remember watching that part when I was younger. And I remember my cousin being with me, but he's a lot older than me, my cousin. And I remember his son being there. And like and the son was much younger than me. And we were that beach scene was going and we're sitting there and we're just like what do we? And he's looking at his son, he's like, listen, my boy, this is not real, okay?
But it is real. That's the thing. What?
People are like carrying around their guts and like heads of blood. Like the one guy, I remember he's laying there, next minute, ping off his heel. Then he lifts up, take his hat off, looks at the fact
And
that
then
a
he
bullet, and the next minute a real
gets
bullet
shot.
goes through. Like it, oh
Wait,
my
can we just all take a
goodness.
moment that he said this isn't real when it is very
Yeah.
real?
No, but
It's like exactly what happened.
Like what is, yeah, like did happen, but it's not action. Like all of it was makeup and all of that
Oh,
stuff.
okay, yeah. But it's just, yeah, no.
I just looked, I'm like, wow, dude.
That film also had a very good cast because
Yeah.
Matt Damon was Ryan, wasn't it? Wasn't he Private Ryan?
Matt Damon.
I'm sure Matt Damon. It was a young Matt Damon.
Good question.
And then obviously it had Tom Hanks in it.
I was just so fearful for my life. I don't remember the characters' names.
It's a very, actually, I would go and watch that
So
film
was,
again.
wait, you see, this is how much I missed, and it was quite a while ago. Tom Hanks was the guy
He was the one that had to save
that was
Private Ryan
sent
because
to go get him.
Private Ryan. So he was
Yeah.
he had two other brothers. So it was a family of three,
And his brother
both
died
of
or
his
something.
two other brothers died in World War II. And so America
Yes.
almost had like this thing where if like you had three sons
Mm.
and two of them had died, they would go and pull your son out because obviously they don't want like all three, like that's hectic, all three of your children die. So
Yeah.
they then, it was like a rescue
Yeah.
mission. Yeah, so that's number 10.
No, exactly. Number 9. All About Eve, 1950. Do you remember this one, Sash?
1950, I remember.
Do you remember this one?
Film. Not.
We haven't even watched it. And that's why I was saying what makes a list like this so interesting is because you watch all the films that you want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if we had to actually go and watch this and comment, it would be an experience.
No, it would. I actually want to go and,
And this
watch
was
this
in the
film.
time when they like made films.
They
like
made them.
you actually don't realize how much technique comes, like film technique,
Yeah.
that they put into films like this.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what the film is about. I've never watched it
But
before.
apparently, Bette Davis is the Godzilla of showbiz monsters.
in this fire-breathing satire of the fragility of stardom.
I was gonna say that. Yes.
Whatever that means. All right, next
Exactly.
up.
Number
we have
8.
An earlier film. So that was 1950. This film is from 1946.
Yeah.
It is called It's a Wonderful Life. I've heard about this film. I actually have heard about this film, but I've never watched it before. And the director is Frank Capra.
Yes.
Frank Capra.
I know that guy.
And this is a heart-wrenching classic which failed at the box office in its original release.
Shame.
Only to become Hollywood's ultimate populist Christmas fable. Actually, that's where I know it from. Apparently, it's this huge Christmas film. And it's one of the most touching movies ever made. And if you look closely, one of the darkest. Wow. I'm actually very interested to go and watch it now.
Yeah.
Like,
Just look at that shot. Can you see how the composition is set up?
yeah, it's proper, man.
Like you look at this guy, and then it leads down to
The main actor really looks like Pierce Morgan, don't you think?
Pierce.
Like if you had to
Pierce.
look at him quick, one of the James Bonds.
Oh yeah.
He like,
Actually.
but it can't be him. It
Yeah.
cannot be him. Yes.
Number 7. 2001. No, 1968. Wow.
Yeah. So
A
it's maybe
Space
1960,
Odyssey. Wow.
Isn't this
This was like one of the first films, wasn't it? Where they, well, it was known, not one of the first films, but it was very well. Wait, what is 2001?
So, in other words, the film was made in 1968, but the title is 2001, A Space Odyssey. So, it was obviously
I
set
get
in
it.
the future.
So, it's one of those beyond the year 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be
is
flying
what
cars
happens.
and stuff, and here we are.
And this is Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And this is I actually cannot believe I haven't watched this film yet. I'm ashamed because the amount of times I've told myself to watch this film.
This was one of the films where they had to solve the issue of gravity, especially being in space, and they actually had the set on almost like on a rotating
That's
wheel.
so cool.
And the way that they did it, I'm sure in that time, even just look like this actually looks like a very modern
No,
film.
it does. And it's all practical because
And
obviously, 1968,
Yet
it would all be
1968.
practical. Yeah.
Brilliant. This was before Star Wars.
Right?
My word.
We haven't. Okay. So number 6 is Seven Samurai, a 1954 film. Can you believe it? Variety's on a roll here, man. They're like modern films suck.
This is
Go
what
watch
I'm
the
saying.
old stuff.
This is what I'm saying.
So this one, whereas Western action movies typically pits a lone hero against whatever evil might be threatening his family, which is very true, like Die Hard. However, even Bond movies, that's the case. However, in this film, it's an expansive ensemble drama, and it's all about teamwork, which is very cool.
1954.
And it's about samurais.
Who would ever think?
Wow.
In the Western action. Oh, look at that.
Now we know. We watched this one. This is one of the
Number 5.
We've only watched 2 out of 10. And we're on 5.
No.
Hectic.
All right. 1994. We were all alive then.
No, I wasn't.
I was alive then.
I was -3.
I remember this film. Right. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I actually do remember this film.
Yes.
John Travolta, like in the first time I watched it.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
no, I watched
Yeah.
it last
I
year
was
when we were
shocked to
doing
see
our
him
Quentin
in-
Tarantino.
What was that movie that he was in? Grease Lightning.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw him in there, then I thought about this film. I'm like,
It's completely
how
different.
dare this guy be on this film? Do you know what this guy's really like? Because if you've watched Pulp Fiction,
Although he's dancing, and wasn't Uma Thurman still nervous
Quentin
to dance with him?
Tarantino, that's right.
She was,
Yeah, because he was a great dancer. Why was he a great dancer? Which one came first? Grease Lightning?
I think Grease.
There you
Grease
go.
first, yeah, then
so that's
this
what
one.
made him. So we watched this. We've done a movie show on it.
Go listen to it.
There you go. We
There you
did
go.
a Quentin Tarantino
Marathon.
There you go.
All right, this film I've actually also heard about. I haven't watched it. It's a 1941. This is isn't this the earliest? This is the earliest film so far.
Sure.
It is called Citizen Kane, and I actually have heard about it. For decades, it was commonly thought of as the greatest movie ever made.
Come on.
And there are a lot of reasons why. Number 1, the visionary excitement of it. Number 2, the through a snow globe, darkly gothic majesty of it. I don't know what that means, but anyway. The joyous acting, the hypnotic structure, the playfulness, the doomy haunting symbolism of Rosebud, and on and on. Wow.
Marvel, come
So,
on, guys.
Yeah. It
This
says,
is it.
Then 25-year-old Horace Wallace charged into Hollywood as if it was the world's greatest toy store, directing his debut feature. And it was the greatest film. Shot with such rule-breaking force of virtuosity. There we go. Wow, that's amazing that it's his first film, and yet it did so well.
Yeah.
So Citizen Kane, yeah.
And number 3, 1972. We've spoken about this film before. We said we were going to watch them. There's 3 of them, right?
Yes.
2 or 3.
There's 3 of them, but only 2 made it onto IMDb's top 10 list.
There you go. The Godfather.
The Godfather, number 1.
1972.
So isn't this the first film now that's mixed? No, Pulp Fiction was also. So Pulp Fiction and this film, The Godfather, were.
In IMDb's.
A Space Odyssey wasn't in
Nope.
IMDb's, right?
Nope.
Yeah. So these are the 2 that have crossed over now. So we definitely have to watch
We
this
will
one.
be doing The Godfather.
Yes. Number 2, shocking. I remember watching this film as
Yeah.
a child.
That's the earliest film.
This is the earliest so
Wow.
far. 1939. And it's in color.
Yes?
Why were the other films in black and white, man? Because this film was in color.
No, maybe this was just a...
No, it was in color, Ryan. It was in color because when she okay, I'm just going to say it. It's the Wizard of Oz. When she goes to Oz, it turns to color.
The only thing I can think of... Wow, how did they do that? The earliest coloring that they did, but I think that was way before this. So that means that color was available when they used to sit and actually color the film.
Oh, shame. Is that what they had to do?
But I don't think that does not look. You can see the tones and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. So no, I don't.
So
think it's,
here it says wholesome Hollywood entertainment at its most upbeat and pure. Victor Fleming's joyous Technicolor classic has stood the test of time.
Technicolor. There
There
you
we
go.
Gifting pleasure to multiple generations, which is very true because I mean, I watched this as a child, while representing the gold standard against which all other cinematic enchantments are judged. The simple device of shifting from black and white to color when Judy Garland's Dorothy enters the land of Oz sets up the audience for the magical experience ahead, minting the template for the Avatar, Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings franchises. We marvel alongside our wide-eyed heroine as she sets off with her 3 new friends, her little dog, to prove their smarts, hearts, and courage. At their most successful, movies feel like waking reveries, which is also how one might describe Dorothy's fantastical quest. As it happens, this is how we as audiences engage with cinema, bringing every aspect of our life experience to what is presented on screens, thereby making them our own. Meanwhile, the character of the wizard, young viewers get an essential warning about how the medium can be used to manipulate us into believing in an alternate reality.
All right, here we go. So the first color cinematography was by Additive Colors, which I spoke about, in 1899.
18.
Tested in 1902, and then a simplified additive system was successfully commercialized in 1909 by...
Why
yeah,
were the other films in black and white then?
because they wanted to.
Okay.
Because they were lazy. Okay, next one. Number one.
Number 1.
Right on the top. Do you recognize this? There you go, right there. 1960. In 1960,
Psycho.
in black and white.
Black and white. 1960, man. Like,
Psycho.
Psycho.
Yes, Alfred Hitchcock. I mean,
Yes.
and this is like one of the
his slasher masterpiece.
slasher masterpiece. Yes, cutting into the movie
There you go.
business, slicing at people.
Oh, literally.
Yeah, there's a lot of heritage or a lot of traits that people use out of this film. The curtain shower woman.
Who couldn't apparently bath after that, watching that scene.
Yes.
Or shower, should I say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you've watched that, 1960, number 1 on Variety's
It says,
lists.
in 45 seconds, the shower scene rips the 20th century in half.
There you go.
What Hitchcock was expressing was profound, that in the modern world, the center would no longer hold. And once the movie kills off its heroine, oh, it did that? I didn't know it did that. I haven't actually watched Psycho. Have you watched Psycho?
Nope.
I just know about that.
Exactly.
So it killed off its heroine. That's hectic. Killing off in the process the very idea that, wow, God will protect us. That's intense. Never mind. I don't like this film anymore. It turns into the cinema's most hypnotic, seductive, and prophetic meditation. No, we don't like Psycho. We have just removed
All
Psycho
right.
from top number 1.
So number 1 is actually
At this point, it's that's very interesting. So, okay, we've watched Saving Private Ryan. I'll agree. Obviously,
Yeah.
like All About Eve, It's a Wonderful Life. I haven't watched Space Odyssey. I really want to watch.
I would also like to watch
Pulp
Space
Fiction was
Odyssey.
good. Citizen Kane, I also want to watch. I've heard it's good. Wizard of Oz. I think I know it as a childhood movie, so I
Look
suppose
at the
going on-
makeup. Look how great the makeup. Like, look how they did the faces, and then how they jointed up with their costume.
Yeah,
Like
it's true
the lion,
actually.
because in obviously in that time makeup was like the big thing. That was like the VFX. So
No,
that like a lot of
1939.
effort went into it, and they would have had to try and join the actor's performance with the actual actor. I mean,
I
who's
think-
that Tin Man? Just
Yeah,
look at
that
his
was the
eyes.
Tin Man. I think maybe why this film was so good, especially the time, I don't think it would have the same effect now because we're used to color films. But the fact that it started off in black and white,
I think that
and
would have
when,
been amazing.
when she went, like, imagine just going to the movie theater and you're expecting a black and white film, because like that's
Yeah.
all the films are black and white or most of them. And next minute this thing transforms into color. I think that would have just been, it would have added to the audience's like sensation of how amazing the land of Oz was.
I wonder if it was the first film where they mixed the two colors, because obviously color
Yeah.
was present then, but then
This would have been like the Avatar of their day. Like we're like, wow, the CG, it's so real. They did such amazing things. They did motion capture underwater. Now it's like, they turned it into color.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, but Psycho, I did not know that Psycho. Yeah, no, Alfred Hitchcock needs help.
The Tin Man was Jack Haley, by the way. Yes,
I do not know who that is.
it's this guy.
There we go.
John Joseph Haley was an American actor, comedian, dancer, radio host, singer, drummer, and there you go.
I think a lot of the
You
actors
just
in
learnt
those
about him.
days also had to be dancers and singers. I think it was like you had to sing, dance, and act all in one. Nowadays you can just act, or
Because
you
they
can
did
just
dance.
Sing. Yeah.
We're off to
And
see
sang.
the wizard,
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
There you go.
Ding-ding-ding.
Born 1897, died in 1979. None of us were alive.
Sure. It's hectic, man. Wow. Yeah, so this was Variety's top 10 films of all time. We've only had 2 crossovers so far, right?
Yeah.
It's been Pulp Fiction and The Godfather.
The Godfather.
It's very interesting, man. And this was so different to IMDb. Like, honestly, it was so different. Yeah. But anyway, this has been the movie show.
On your favorite RISPS.
Until next week.
Cheers.
Peace.